Thank you, Dr. Spicer, members of the board and community. This evening we have a full house, so we're going to try and get through this with some moderation, but also rather quickly so we can get these fine folks on their way home. We're going to start this evening with the 2018 Psd Spelling Bee Winner. With us this evening we have Miss Connie Klibbe. She is the Spelling Bee Coordinator, and she will be introducing Rahul Ghosh from Kennard, who is our Spelling Bee Winner. Ms. Draper, would you like to join us?
Hi, thank you members of the board and Dr. Smizer. I'll briefly explain how we get to tonight. The schools hold a school bee, and then that winner of the school bees take a written district test. Then the top 20 scores from the district test get to come to the the district bee, and then the top 10 from the district bee qualify to go to the state. And I'd like to thank the office managers, the spelling bee coordinators at the schools, and the principals for all their work. It's a lot of effort to put on their school bees, and without their efforts, we wouldn't hold our district bee. I'd also quickly like to acknowledge our top 10 students who went to the state this year. They are Josephine Armstrong from Blevins, Austin Evans from Bowder, Rahul Ghosh from Kennard, Ethan Klabundi from Bethke, Amber Kranz from Liberty Common Middle School, Joseph Lease from Lesher, Ananya Mahapatra from Weber, James Messick from PGA, Duncan O'Kelly from Johnson, and Allison Wu from Trout. They were amazing representatives of PSD at the State B. And congratulations to any of you that are watching, and thank you for representing us so well. Now for our winner. Rahul, will you please join me? He's ready to spell some more words. That's the spot he spelled. In this age of spell check and autocorrect, it always gives me such pleasure to see kids that are so passionate about spelling, and Rahul is no exception to that. Many of these kids have a natural gift, but they also spend a lot of time studying, and there's lists and all kinds of things that they study to perfect their spelling. And this year the bee went 30 rounds, and a few of Rahul's words were bellicose, picaresque, and kohlrabi. Rahul, I've been doing this for 10 years, and I realize tonight you're really special to me because I'm retiring and you're the last bee winner that I'm going to be honoring, and I didn't know I was going to do this, but my husband would say, of course you're going to do this. But anyway, I'm so proud of you, and you were just such a good speller, and this just makes me really sad. I realize how much I'm going to miss honoring amazing students like Rahul. So, on that note, I will honor you with this trophy. There are stars because, of course, you are our Spelling Bee star this year, and it says Rahul Ghosh, 2018 Spelling Bee District Champion with our Poudre School District logo, and so you'll never forget your winning word. Knock music is at the bottom. He was an amazing speller, guys. So, Rahul, congratulations on being PSD 2018 Spelling Bee Champion. Oh, do you want to say anything?
What school she went to?
Oh, okay. So I used to go to Trout Elementary School, and now I go to Kennard Middle School.
So I just want to say that I've had the pleasure of actually knowing Rahul since he was, well, he probably doesn't remember how long I've known him. So it's no surprise actually that he won the spelling bee, and Nachtmusik was your word because I've seen you at piano lessons since forever. So congratulations. So.
Okay, and I apologize, we went out of order there, so I'm going to hopscotch back to our outstanding community partner. This evening we have the ARC of Larimer County with us, and this is a special partner that works with us with some of our programs and our students. And so with us this evening we have Beth Higgins, who is our Community Partnership Coordinator, and she works with the ARC, and she's also an ARC board member. So I'll let Beth introduce our partners from the ARC and how they work with PSD.
Thank you, Danielle, and good evening, everybody. As the partnerships coordinator for PSD, it's always a really exciting part of my job when I get to come and celebrate and share all the great things that happen in our school because of our community partners. Tonight is no different, although a little bit more special maybe for me than some other evenings, and that's because we're recognizing ARC of Larimer County. The partnership that we have with them is it's relatively new, and we're hoping to grow it. This year we brought films from the 6th annual film festival called Reframe Disability into Rocky Mountain High School for the kids to see. It's a great opportunity for those kids to learn about a little bit more about inclusion, diversity, and all of those kinds of things. So that was our big first step in the partnership, and we're really excited about what that's going to bring for us for the next few years. Personally, as Danielle mentioned, I am on the board of directors for ARC, and so in that respect, it's a close personal thing for me as well. But also, as a member of the community, I have a younger brother who lives with Down syndrome, and I can speak as a community member of how important the services are that ARC provides to the community in whole. So on that note, I would like to invite up Philip Beers, who's the president of the board of directors for ARC of Larimer County, and I'll also bring up Marilee Boylan, who's the executive director of ARC, and I will let them say a few words.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for inviting us here tonight. With me from the board, the community volunteer board of ARC of Larimer County, is our treasurer, Ms. Ryan Hodge, and another director besides Beth, Ms. Tina Green. Again, we're so delighted to be here. You may or may not know that ARC is the nation's oldest and largest organization devoted to the civil rights and education and advancing the interest of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The ARC of Larimer County itself is 10 years old, a proud 10 years old, and we last year provided over 2,886 hours of free advisory services in connection with our mission. Our ultimate goal is to foster an inclusive community where people with intellectual and developmental disabilities are included in every aspect of community life. Our advocacy staff spends many hours at PSD, and it's one of our major functions, as well as many other locations throughout Larimer County, to support individuals, families, and IEP teams in navigating complex systems and resources. Like many people affiliated with the ARC, I myself have a son with autism in PSD. We've been delighted with PSD. I see Scott Nielsen over there, who was my son's principal at Preston. We moved here, we chose this community, we're glad we chose this community, and PSD is a big part of it. And I'm off script here. I'd like to introduce my executive director, Marilee Boylan, to bring us back to script. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you for the recognition, and thank you for doing what you do in the community. So March is Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. So like everybody was saying, we always have a film festival hosted at CSU and the Laurie Student Center Theater. So next year, please come and join us. It's a blast, and everybody leaves with their heart in their mouth because it's so really impactful. And this year, because of Danielle and Beth, we were able to take this film festival on the road, and we started with bringing films to Rocky. We do have films on Channel 10 that will be posted pretty shortly. Where's Matt? And so the junior highs will have access to that film content as well. Yeah, and we just really want to thank you for your collaboration and your partnership for including all students with intellectual and developmental disabilities to become wonderful community citizens, employees, post-secondary students and leaders. So thank you very much.
A special hug for the board member, that one. Just a word about our partners. Our partners are amazing. They're extremely valuable. They bring the enrichment to our kids that just enhance our kids' education. And I'd like to thank ARC for their work, and we're looking forward to a lot of years of partnership. So thank you.
Thank you.
Do the Walk of Fame. Okay, while they're going and doing the Walk of Fame, we'll have on deck Preston Science Bowl. Ms. Schmier? So now we have some amazing students out of Preston Middle School who are our Science Bowl state winners and are going to the Nationals, is my understanding. A quick note, Fort Collins High School won their Science Bowl as well, but we did not learn that in time to get them on this recognition, so we'll bring them back to you next month, okay? But this evening we have Miss Amy Schmier, principal of Preston Middle School, as well as Coach Logan Burke and the members of the Science Bowl team. Ms. Schmier?
Thank you, board members and Dr. Smizer, for always taking time each month to celebrate our students. This is a very exciting time to get to celebrate wonderful coaches and students that have worked very hard. So thank you for continuing your support and celebration time. I would like to introduce you to Miss Logan Burke, who is our Science Bowl coach. Miss Burke.
Hi. Thank you so much for having us here. We've worked really hard to get to this point, so we really appreciate it a lot. If you haven't seen a Science Bowl competition before, it's like a very fast-paced science team Jeopardy game. So there's buzzers out in front of the kids. They have to be the first one to buzz in and answer a random, it could be any topic on science. They have to answer it correctly. And then if they do that, they'll have the opportunity for a bonus question. And if they answer that one correctly, after 20 seconds to collaborate on the answer, they'll move on to the next question. So it's very fast-paced, both individual and teamwork, which brings out a lot of cool traits for us to work on in both individual and teamwork. So we've been practicing every Tuesday since October, and then also some long Saturday practices. They put a lot of time to be here. At the state competition, it came down to the very last question of the very last round. So it was the toughest competition that we've ever experienced, and we barely pulled through at the end there. But we are very excited, and we are traveling to Washington, D.C. on April 26th. We'll get to go visit the monuments, the Smithsonian's, and then compete against 60 other top middle school teams from around the country. So we're super excited, and we have 3 of our 5 members here today. The other 2 have other band obligations because they're involved in so many things. But we'll have these 3 introduce.
I'm Sophie, and I'm in 7th grade, and I'm going to either Fort Collins High School or Fossil.
Where did you go to elementary?
Oh, and I went to Werner Elementary School.
Okay, I'm Jackson, the only 6th grader on the team, and I went to Zach Elementary and will probably go to Fossil Ridge.
I'm Ethan, and I went to Bacon Elementary. I'm currently in 8th grade, and I'm going to Fossil.
So, as someone whose spouse has been a Science Bowl coach for, I don't know, 10, 12 years, something like that, and whose kids participated in Science Bowl certainly at high school, and it's been a while, but I think also in middle school, I understand how much work you folks, the coach and and the team members have had to go through. And I really, really appreciate that and congratulate you on your dedication and your knowledge, obviously, and your skill in being able to pull this off. So that's really terrific. Thank you very much for representing the district so well. I think also I'll just put in a plug. Every year, the Middle School Science Bowl is looking for volunteers to help just, be judges or scorekeepers or whatever, and you don't have to know all the science to be able to do it. I've volunteered several years in a row, and it's a really fun activity, and you get to see the kind of things that they were talking about. So if you have an interest in that, you can contact me, and I'll get you in contact with the right person. But more importantly for you guys, congratulations on behalf of the board and on behalf of the district. Thank you very much.
Okay, as they're finishing up that, on deck we have the History Bowl from Fort Collins High School. Ms. Dunn? So from science to history, we're going to go with our Fort Collins High School won the State History Bowl. Their first team, Varsity A, qualified for nationals. They'll also be traveling to Washington, D.C., is my understanding. And just as a note, their junior varsity team placed second, but will also be heading to nationals, is my understanding. So with us today, we have Fort Collins High School Assistant Principal, Miss Emily Dunn, and she's going to introduce the coach and some teammates.
Good evening. Thanks for having us here tonight. Our students work hard in the classroom, but also in the many extracurricular activities that they choose to participate in. Often the time and effort students spend in their academic activities goes unnoticed, so this recognition tonight is appreciated and special. I'd like to introduce and thank our History Club sponsors, Craig Rhodes and Connor Payne, for the extra time they've spent over the last few months preparing our History Club students to compete at a national level. Mr. Rhodes and Ms. Payne will talk more about the efforts of our national qualifying students.
Thank you, Ms. Dunn. Thank you, board, for recognizing us and our wonderful team. Every Wednesday during lunch, they give up their time to come and practice questions, review anything that has ever happened in the world. And when their competition came, they made it to the finals fairly easily, and the final round was absolutely thrilling. I think you guys got in second to last question, and our whole team couldn't make it, but I'd like to introduce Henry Cafaro and Luca Robinault, who are our two co-captains.
I'd just like to recognize our other three members of our team who all contributed a lot in our journey to nationals. Brooke Crone, Lincoln Brandt, and Doug Ringer all were great, and they couldn't be here today, but they all pitched in a lot in our journey.
Mr. President, members of the board, I'd just like to say thank you so much for having us for this recognition, and just say how excited we are to have the opportunity to pursue our passion, which is history, and represent FCHS in Pruder School District at nationals. And I'd also like to take a moment to recognize some of our other social studies teachers who helped us get to this place. Ms. Kathleen Conway, Mr. Francisco Cordova, Ms. Christine Matthey, and also our two wonderful sponsors, Ms. Connor Payne and Mr. Craig Rhodes. Thank you so much.
I'm Henry. I went to Riffenburg Elementary School and Lesher Middle School.
And I also went to Riffenburg and Lesher Middle School.
In addition to the History Bowl, which is a team event, there also is the History B, which is an individual event, and in the JV History B, Henry placed first in the state, and then in our varsity History B, Luca placed first in the state. So they're very very smart, far smarter and far more articulate than I am.
And just to add on to that, what's really cool, Craig and I are both new to Fort Collins High School this year, and so we've really got to see them take on a leadership role when, we don't know what we're doing. The students have really brought through and kept this club going when we were doing our best to just kind of survive. So it's really awesome to see them in not only the academic setting, but also the leadership setting and showing off their skills in so many ways.
I have a kid who went to Fort Collins High School and participated in History Bowl. It is like trivia on steroids. So these guys are just amazingly smart who participate in this, and I wish them luck at nationals. So thanks for being here tonight, you guys.
Thank you.
So while they're doing the Walk of Fame, we're going to have our athletic honors on deck. So we're going to start with our 5A Wrestling State Champion and Coach of the Year from Poudre High School, Mr. Greenwood and Mr. Gollier. Oh, good. Carrie. Good. Okay. Dr. Smizer, members of the board, now we move from activities to athletics. So Mr. Donovan, if you'll join us. First off, we have our wrestling state champions out of Poudre High School, and with us this evening we have Miss Carrie Christensen, our assistant principal at Poudre, and she's going to introduce our wrestling coach of the year and one of our state champions in wrestling.
Thank you and good evening, Dr. Smizer and the board. The definition of humility is the freedom from pride or arrogance. Both Jacob Greenwood and Coach Barrett Gollier exemplify this character trait by the way they live their lives both on and off the mat. It is my honor to introduce to you two of the most humble people I have ever met. Jacob has demonstrated his humility and strong character throughout his 4 years as a Poudre wrestler. You would never know by talking to Jacob, nor would he ever tell you that he is the first ever four-time state champion for Fort Collins. Yay. And only the 21st ever four-time state champion in Colorado history. When you get a standing ovation by 15,000 wrestling fans at the Pepsi Center, you know that you are not only an incredible wrestler, but an incredible person. Coach Gollier has demonstrated his humility and strong character throughout the last 17 years as the Poudre High School head wrestling coach. Coach Gollier has led the Impalas to a top 4 placing in the state tournament the last 3 years, has won the regional tournament the past 2 years, and the JV wrestling team has finished first or second in the state the last 4 years. Coach Gollier has finished he was a finalist for the 2017 National Coach of the Year and is once again the Front Range League Coach of the Year for the 2017-2018 season. I believe Coach Gollier's greatest achievements is the type of men that his wrestlers become after they leave Poudre High School. Along with his assistant coaches, they not only teach the skills necessary to become a state champion, but more importantly, they represent and teach what it means to be the men of character, integrity, and humility. I would like to thank Poudre School District and the Board of Education for valuing athletics and understanding that character that is developed in athletic programs and evident in all aspects of life. I would like to now turn it over to Coach Gollier, who would like to say a few things about Jacob.
Thank you, board, and thank you, everyone that's here for this recognition. It's pretty special. To win the state one time is a great accomplishment in the state wrestling tournament, and to do it 4 times in a row, that means he went undefeated 16 matches at the highest level of the state tournament. It's pretty amazing. It's a pretty special thing. He represents not only Poudre High School, but Poudre School District. He represents the Fort Collins community, but also Livermore, where he's from, and LaPorte, where he went to school, and northern Colorado, really. Coaching Jacob on his journey, it's been really special, and it's been a blessing. It really has. It's not about me as his coach. It's an accumulation. It's an accumulation of many of the coaches along the way, including assistants at Poudre, Josh Wiseman and Dave Cummings, and those guys that come alongside Emery Lee. coaches along the way that he's had, other guys, including Grit Athletics and his dad, Bill Greenwood. It's really an accumulation of his teammates and his training partners, especially his training partner, his brother Job. Poudre High School athletics in general, the athletic director, her support, Kendall Wilson, and all the others along the way, and the district providing the opportunity really to achieve something really special. I don't know many other opportunities like the state wrestling tournament where so many eyes are on one person, one match. Pretty special opportunity. Mostly the sport as the accumulation of a loving and supporting family. And his championships are a reflection of three things that I thought of. And the first thing is his resilience. Jacob's overcome injuries and illnesses, and it's almost every year after the state tournament come down with some kind of sickness. It's a grind. Even some pressure and even self-doubt along the way, overcoming some of that stuff. Also, the second thing I want to say is just his courage. It takes a lot of courage to wrestle and put yourself out there and to pursue big dreams. There's some vulnerability there. And the last thing for Jacob Greenwood is that I believe helped him with this championship is his faith. To be grounded in something bigger than yourself, and just an example and a testimony for others. So with that, I just want to present Jacob Greenwood. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys for having me up here. I'm really honored, and it's really great that you guys have been doing this. I've attended Livermore Elementary. Miss Clibby was actually one of my teachers for a long time. Probably one of my favorites. Played some sports at CLP. I went to Poudre Global Academy, and then I've been at Poudre for a few years. But just thank you again, and proud to represent this city, and proud to be in Impala. So thanks.
On behalf of the board, congratulations to Coach Goyer and Jacob, and it's an amazing wrestling family and quite a community in that wrestling room at Poudre. So also echo thanks to all the people that supported these two and continue to support them, and just appreciate all the hard work. Thanks.
While Coach Gollier and Jacob are going through the Walk of Fame, on deck we're going to have Mr. Skip Cadu from Fort Collins High School and Audrey Reimer from the swim team. So we're going to transition from the mat to the water. And we're going to go to swimming now, and we have the 4A girls swimming individual state champion, Miss Audrey Reimer, and I'll let Mr. Skip Cadu, the athletic director from Fort Collins High School, tell you all about Audrey and what she won at state.
Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Dr. Smizer and Board of Education for this recognition. As an ex-swimmer, it really is neat to go to an athletic event that I know something about. There's a lot of things that I just go along with the flow and think I know how many guys are on a hockey rink and what different pieces of equipment are. And, you know, as an athletic director, you know, I'm supposed to know that. So I'm learning a lot as I go, but as a swimmer, it really is comfortable to go to an auditorium and watch kids swim. And watching Audrey swim was just phenomenal. When I watched the semis, the prelims, and the 100 backstroke, and I had a picture. My iPhone ate it, I'll say, but I think he won by like a third of a length in prelims and dropped her time 3 seconds from her qualifying time to prelims, and then she dropped it another second in the finals. So it was awesome. State record. I was horrible at backstroke, so I really appreciated that. And then in butterfly, same thing, you know, dropped her time 3 seconds, from her qualifying into prelims and then won it in finals. So it's just a very great accomplishment to win these two individual events. I want to introduce Betsy Rogers, her coach, who deserves a lot of credit for being a big part of her swimming career.
Hi, thank you for having us. I really don't deserve any credit. This is all Audrey. When we first saw her swim, we're like, oh, wow. The coaches and I went, look at her. Her strokes are absolutely beautiful and so efficient. She had only swum, I think, for a year before she joined the high school team. And we just couldn't believe it. She was so fast. Efficiency was the best word for it. So we got her swimming, and then I give all the credit to her club coaches and her parents. Her parents are driving her twice a day before practice. They're in the water at 5 in the morning to right before school starts, and then again in the afternoon. And I don't know if there's any parents more happy when they turn 16 than swimming parents. So the parents deserve a lot of credit, and Audrey's just her sheer talent. So this is Audrey Larimer. Congratulations, Audrey.
I'd like to thank the board and the president for this recognition. It's an extreme honor. I went to Ridgeview Classical Schools for kindergarten through freshman year, and then I went to Liberty Common for sophomore through junior year, and then I finally went to Collins for senior year. And I'll be going to University of Utah on a full ride scholarship in June. So.
Well, congratulations to Audrey and to Skip's comment about trying to find a sport you know something about. I actually was down there for this competition, and I saw a referee who judged the diving, and I asked him, how do you score diving? And he explained it to me, and it was like gibberish. So swimming's a little easier to understand, and I saw Audrey win her state championships, and if I remember correctly, it was the backstroke that was the state record, and both of them were, and you also qualified as an All-American in both of them? Really? That's amazing. Yeah, it was something to see, so congratulations.
Okay, while Audrey's going through the Walk of Fame, we'll have the Fossil Ridge girls swimming team and Mr. Brandon Carlucci. Okay, so now we have the 5A, which is one category up, for the state champions for swimming, and we have some individual team champions, and I hear we have some national records that were also broken. So we have Mr. Brandon Carlucci. He is the athletic director at Fossil Ridge High School, and he's going to introduce the girls swim team.
Yes, good evening, board and cabinet. Dr. Smizer, thank you for having us. I'm going to go off script just for a minute and just, again, we kind of touched on this at the end of last year, but just how much, certainly in my role, I appreciate the resources that you put towards athletics, not just athletics, but the arts and clubs. Certainly in athletics these days, clubs get more and more prominent all the time. And sometimes we lose athletes to the clubs, and it's kind of this arms race of bigger and better and more travel and all of this type of stuff. And I just appreciate the cabinet, Dr. Smizer's, their willingness to sort of keep up with that, because as long as I'm in this position, I will continue to fight to have kids participate in sports at our school because it gives us leverage. And we can harness the passion a kid has maybe for athletics or for clubs or for the arts and use that and to maybe capture some energy that they might not have when they're factoring a quadratic equation and things like that. And so, you know, and it gets to be more and more of a fiasco all the time, this athletic stuff. But I think the cause is worthy, and I think it it just really rounds out when we talk about educating the whole child. So I appreciate your willingness to, and I know we're pushing on the board all the time. I know Scott's getting pushed by our district athletic director, and I know Dr. Smizer's getting pushed, and I just appreciate your willingness to take those steps and to continue that push so that we can celebrate these athletes and we don't lose them, and that when they walk through our door, it's not a place where they just go to class, but they walk through our door thinking, hey, this is my school, you know, and they've got the name of the school across their chest, and they're representing us in that way. So very, very neat. I also want to say congratulations to all of the other award winners up here tonight. One neat thing about Fort Collins and PSD is that we have really neat rivalries with the schools in town, and the kids like to talk a lot of trash, and they like to have fun with that, and they show up and they come out in waves for those games. But when we go to state competitions and we head down to Denver, there's a sense of pride when anyone from PSD. And so, you know, Jacob, Audrey, just know that when you're capturing state championships, when Knowledge Bowl, when History Bowl goes, and it's one of our neighboring schools, that we take pride in that, and we root for you guys. So congratulations to you in that. It's really neat, and I think that's one of the really cool things about PSD. So now on to this swim team here, and this obviously doesn't capture our entire swim team. These two ladies didn't do all of the work, but they did their fair share, which was really neat. You may have read some of the articles about it already. They sort of shattered records this year, and we can say with all confidence that the Fossil girls swim team this year was the best. The greatest girls swim team Colorado has ever seen. They captured more team points than any team in Colorado history. They captured 10 of 12 events, winning state championships, shattered national records, so on and so forth. I'll let Coach Freeze talk about that. But I want to brag on Coach Freeze because she's stepping down at the end of this year. In fact, she already has stepped down, and so we will be replacing her next year, and it's going to be great big shoes to fill. She's one of those coaches that you can turn a program over to, and you know that you're not going to get emails, you're not going to receive phone calls from parents say, what is this coach doing? They're not treating my kid the right way. What's going on over there? There's not one of those type of emails that comes in. Parents are happy because athletes are happy because she's treating kids the right way. She knows what she's doing, and they love it, and she creates an atmosphere that the kids, not only where they can thrive, but where they really enjoy themselves. I'll give you one example of how she really kind of did a great job this year, despite the fact that, well, you just had great swimmers. Well, that's true. She had a lot of great swimmers. And I think it's a shame that she didn't win Coach of the Year. And I said in one of our staff meetings that I think sometimes in swimming, the state has fossil fatigue. And it's tough to vote for Fossil Ridge year in and year out. And I think the fact that she didn't win Coach of the Year this year with all that was accomplished and the records that were set and the amount of was a little bit of a shame. But going into the state championship, what's called a psych sheet comes out, which is you can sort of score the meet off of the psych sheet that basically says if every swimmer swims their best mark, how would the meet play out if we just played it on paper, for example. And on the psych sheet, we were favored by 30 points, 33 points. Okay, so if everything was to go the way it was supposed to on paper, we were going to win that thing by 33. But to give you an idea, a relay is worth 40 points. So if you DQ one relay by jumping off early, that could be the whole difference right there. And when we came out, and so what you're trying to do is strategically place your athletes in the right events and give them the edge, and who's going to swim in what event, and who's going to swim in the prelims versus the finals. And it's very much a puzzle piece that I learned last year. As Skip was saying, swimming was a sport that I very much had to learn and still am, but it was neat watching Coach Freeze kind of work through this. And when the meet ended, we pulled away from Fairview and beat them by 105 points. When we were supposed to win on paper by 33. And so to me, that's coaching. Obviously, it's the girls, but it's having the girls in the right place, tapering them at the right time, having them peak and maximize their performance. So just one illustration of how much she's very much going to be missed, and we've got great shoes to fill in that regard. So I'll let her talk about the team here and the great job they did, but Coach Carolyn Freeze.
I'm so proud of how much Mr. Carlucci has learned about swimming over the last 2 years. It's kind of amazing. Thank you for recognizing us tonight. I'm sorry we don't have more of our athletes here, but they are busy with schoolwork. We had 20 girls qualified for state this year, which is more than we've ever taken to the state meet, so that was really impressive. We placed first in every swimming event except for one, and then also we didn't win diving. We set 3 new state records this year in the medley relay, the 100 butterfly, and the 200 free relay. We set a new national high school record in the medley relay. Like Mr. Carlucci said, we scored more points than any other team in Colorado State history by 25 points. This year, we're graduating 10 academic All-Americans, where they have to graduate with a 3.75 cumulative GPA or higher. Of the 15 seniors that we have, 5 are going on to swim at Division I schools, 2 are going to swim at Division III schools, and our 1 is going to play lacrosse at a Division I school, which is why she's wearing Rocky gear tonight. But to give you a recap of our state champs, in the medley relay it was Bailey Stewart, Zoe Bartel, Colleen Gillen, and Kylie Alons. In the 200 free was Colleen Gillen. In the 200 IM was Zoe Bartel. 50 freestyle was Kylie Alons. 100 butterfly was Colleen Gillen. 100 freestyle was Kylie Alons. 200 free relay was Colleen Gillen, Madeline Mason, Andrea Neiman, Caroline Baker. 100 backstroke was Bailey Stewart. 100 breaststroke was Zoe Bartel, and the 400 free relay was Bailey Stewart, Caroline Baker, Zoe Bartel, and Kylie Alons. And the 2 that could make it today, Andrea Neiman and Madeline Mason, have been such a key to our success over the past years. Madeline's been on the team for 4 years, and Andrea actually played basketball at Fossil for 2 years and then decided to come and swim last year, and decided she was probably a little bit better at swimming, and has been just a huge part of the team. They both bring so much spirit and leadership, and truly are just a heart and soul to our team, and so they will be missed. Andrea, she'll tell you she's going on to swim next year, and like I said, Madeline is one of our only, our only swimmer who is at the level she's at in swimming, and is also a tremendous lacrosse player. So she'll be sneaking out of here to go to lacrosse practice. Madeline placed 5th place in the 50 freestyle and the 100 freestyle, and Andrea was 4th in the 200 IM and 12th in the 100 backstroke, and they were both a part of the 200 freestyle relay that set a new state record. So thanks for having us.
Hi, sorry I'm a little sick. My voice is gone, but I'm Madeline Mason. I went to Warner Elementary, Preston Middle School, and then I'm a senior at Fossil. And like Coach Freese said, I'll be going on to play Division I lacrosse at the University of Denver next year. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Andrea Neiman. I went to Zach Elementary School and I went to Kennard Middle School, and I'm a senior at Fossil, like with Madeline, and next year I'll be going to University of Wyoming to study nursing and to swim.
Wow, after the speech by the athletic director, who knew there was such strategery involved in swimming? That's amazing. This is part of an amazing record for Fossil Ridge Swimming, as you heard, and it's just a testament to the benefits and the excellence that the Poudre School District prides itself on in athletics and activities of all kinds. So, as was said earlier, congrats to all the award winners and those that get involved in activities every day across the district and those that support them. So thank you.
And that concludes our recognitions this evening.